introduce myself. I'm Kathy Connolly with the Lair of the Golden Bear and the Cal Alumni Association. And welcome to our virtual wine tasting at Pappo Restaurant in Alameda. With me is Caroline Connolly. And we do have Chef John Thiel, who will be leading the tasting. John is the executive chef for the Lair of the Golden Bear, and he also is the owner and executive chef of Pappo Restaurant. So here's John.
Hello, hello, hello. Let me grab this. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Thanks to all those that got the wine to sip along, and for those that didn't, it's okay. We can just chat about wine. I believe if you have questions, we'll put them in the chat, and then we can answer them as they come up, or we could do it. We could do it out loud if there's not too many people or too many questions. So as Kathy said, my name is John Thiel. I'm the executive chef for the Lair, but I also am a restaurateur here in Alameda. I own a restaurant called Pappo. So right now we are at the bar of Pappo. This is where you would normally sit. If you were at our bar, this is what you would see. So we thought it'd be fun to kind of create a little similar environment if you were sitting at our bar having food and drink. Soon enough, hopefully. I was Oski head cook in 2003, and I stayed for 1 year, moved on, and after working in some restaurants and some catering, I was asked to help work on the food program at the Lair. And so I've been doing that since 2005. And I'm sorry, 2010. And we'll start with the Chardonnay for all those tasting along with us today. It's the Thiel Chardonnay. Here's the bottle, if you can see this label. These are wines that I made with my winemaker. They're only available at the restaurants. I wanted to create a value wine for the clientele and just kind of go directly to the source. And was approached by a local winemaker to do a custom label, so we can bring higher quality with a better price. This Chardonnay is a Russian River Chardonnay. So first thing I'm doing is I'm swirling and getting a little oxygen onto the wine. This will open up the aromatics of the wine. And then we'll also regard the color. So sometimes people like to put it like in front of a piece of white paper for a background. But this has a beautiful golden color. And after swirling, I go right into a sniff. And then from there, I'll take a big sniff and then a taste. That's me getting some air into my mouth to open the wine even further, giving that extra oxygen. Sometimes people chew on it to get it all throughout their mouth, inside their cheeks, on their taste buds. So this wine, I like the tropical fruit notes about it. There's some nice pineapple, like a very ripe pineapple. This wine was made with I like wine Chardonnay typically from France, which is usually a little bit more acidic and meant to go with the meal at the table. Sometimes California Chardonnays are a little bit too big for me personally, so what I tried to do was find a blend of that comfortable Chardonnay profile that a lot of people are familiar with in the area, and being so close to Napa, and then also bring in some of that old world style. So we made this Chardonnay with only about 50% malolactic fermentation. Most of the bigger Napa Sonoma Chardonnays see about 100%. What that does is allows the mouthfeel to be a little bit softer, creamier, fuller, and as the byproduct, you get a bit of those buttery aromatics or flavors. So this is kind of a little bit of both. I wanted to make sure we had some really nice acidity with some beautiful California fruit, because this was always going to, it's an option by the glass at the restaurant. So you can order a glass of this with your meal. We pair it up in this way. It has that acidity that's required when you're eating to kind of cleanse the palate. That's the job of to cleanse that palate.
John, how do you know if the grapes are going to taste like?
How do we know what the grapes are going to taste like? You can pretty much count on a certain flavor profile of Chardonnay, but what I end up doing with my winemaker is we go from barrel to barrel. We do about half of the wine in a neutral barrel, which doesn't impart much oak at all. And then we did some in some new French oak. So it brings some of those stronger oak components. We take all the parts and pieces, then we sit down and we blend the wine. And then we create the flavor profile that I'm looking for at the restaurant. So there's a big important piece to winemaking, which is blending. And it's one of my favorite parts of the process to do.
How long does that take you to do? About how long the process is?
Blending, maybe a couple hours. Yeah, it's a lot of tasting and spitting, but after a while you kind of start to tweak this and tweak that. If this barrel is, too oaky or too buttery, for me, I like to correct that with something that perhaps even came out of a stainless steel drum where there is no oak at all, and it adds that brighter, fresher, crisper element to it. Anybody have any questions or comments or feedback on this Chardonnay?
We like it.
That's good. Thanks.
Excellent.
It tastes lighter than a usual Chardonnay.
Yeah, it's a little bit lighter. It became kind of a trend over the last few years, unoaked Chardonnay. You may have seen this in the store. This was something I was already kind of working towards, bringing that old world flavor profile to go with the food here at the restaurant. We wanted to make sure this was also something you could just drink by itself, with a little bit of cheese, or how we're tasting it right now. So, and what makes it a little lighter is that we, like I was saying, that malolactic fermentation. For those that don't know, that's when there's a process converts the malic acid, which is a harsh acid, to a lactic acid, which is a bit of a softer acid. And so that allows for that soft, creamy mouthfeel. And we also destemmed these grapes, so there wasn't a lot of that pithy green tannic built into the wine as it started.
We usually like oaky-ish Chardonnay. And say again what percentage of oakiness you think this has got in it, because we, as I said, we like it.
So this is about 50-50. It has neutral oak and new French. So there is going to be that oak component that I wanted there to satisfy, familiarize people with, but then perhaps it does something different on the finish for you than the typical California Chard that you drink. You'll notice a little more acid on the sides of the tongue, maybe inside the cheek. Gets the mouth salivating, and starts to ready for some bite of food.
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah.
So this is Maria. The question is, it's still very high alcohol content, but it seems lighter than other Chardonnays. Is it because it's not as fruity and sugary?
Well, the alcohol is 13.8%. It does, which is low actually. It does feel a little bit hot on the palate at the finish to me. I'm not sure where you pick up the alcohol, but it is present, and I think it is probably because of we don't add sugar at all to the wine. It's all natural, so there is no balancing for the alcohol. I would say, yeah, because we don't add sugar.
Yeah, it,
You
it
know,
seems it seems like it's not, usually certain Chardonnay, they really get on your head. They give you immediate headache because of the combination of sugar and alcohol, I guess. So this one seems like more like, definitely not lighter in alcohol, but definitely lighter that would not give a headache.
I agree. Feel like it's lighter on the palate. It's still full of flavor. It is a 2017, so it has had a little time to age. And what I've noticed with aged white wines is when that vibrancy, that freshness that is not there, that the alcohol does seem a little more pronounced, but the wine has so much more subtleties and texture and flavors that get developed over time in the bottle that it's just kind of it's a part of the deal. You have to kind of take the good and the bad, I guess, a little bit.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, which vineyard did the grapes primarily come from, or which vineyards?
I believe this came out of a Kent Lone Oak vineyard. I don't go up to the vineyards personally, so I'm not 100% on that. I know it's Russian River fruit. My winemaker, he has his own label, and he allows me to sort of tack on to his barrels and his production, and I can just kind of pick and choose what I like out of there. So I'm not 100% about the vineyard on this one, I'm sorry. But the Pinot Noir is from Kent's Lone Oak for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Any talk about the white wine or questions?
Yeah.
Oh, what dishes were you thinking? That's a good question. So I should say the question. What dishes were you thinking this Chardonnay will complement? For me, I love food and wine pairing. So if I tasted this wine, I would recognize the fruitiness and that what kind of fruit right away. I would recognize that acid, and like Maria mentioned, I would notice some of that alcohol, that heat at the end. So the idea of pairing wine and food is that you want to have that balance with the wine and the food together, so they complement one another. You don't want either one to necessarily outshine. So for something like this, because the acidity, you could do things that are a little creamier, something a little richer. The acid will cut through that on the palate. So to be more specific, something with a cream sauce, maybe a fish with a cream sauce, a pasta with a cream sauce. We pair this also with salads that we serve with fruit and cheese that are like a composed salad. So you have that fatty cheese, you have that sweet apple, for example, this time of year, something like that. Maybe a toasted would complement all of this really well. Okay, just looking for any other questions in the chat.
I'll ask one more question. At the outset, you named some of the flavors and aromas that you were getting out of it, and I wonder if you would just repeat those, because I'm always sort of interested in, and I don't remember the list of all. I remember pineapple, but beyond that, I don't remember your list.
Let me give another sniff here. I know definitely the tropical, the pineapple. There is some like green apple, maybe like a baked green apple. Lemon blossom. I get that. A brighter, lighter, fresh lemon flavor, very subtle. There's sort of that caramelized note to this, and I think that that's what I really get on my nose, where I think of like ripe pineapple or some just a little bit of a cooked fruit. There's a little bit of spice in there still, like some nutmeg. That helps. Okay, should we move?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions, y'all? I keep looking down at myself. I should look up here. Okay, any other questions? Okay, let's move, for those sipping along, let's move on to the Pinot Noir. And this is our 2016 Willa's Reserve. My 6-year-old niece drew this picture for me one Christmas, and I thought, man, I gotta do something with that. And I just sat around on my desk for a while, and I thought it'd be cool on a wine bottle. So we called this one Willa's Reserve. That's my little niece in Michigan. Yeah, she was 6 when she drew it. So we're happy to have some more of the family input there.
No, we never turned this down.
Yes, exactly. Mhm. So if nobody's been to Pappo Restaurant before, we're located downtown Alameda, just in case anybody's in the area. We're doing to-go food right now. We're working on some outside seating. And we hope one day soon we can get back to some regular operations. But if you're ever in the area and want to visit, we'd love to have you. They're always welcome, the Cal family. So swirling this one, moving to the Pinot Noir Russian River 2016. Sometimes I close my eyes when I sniff. If you notice me do that, a long time ago, someone told me you could shut down one of your senses and it enhances the other 4. So I do it. I think it works a little bit. I'm not sure. I've never plugged my ears or anything.
It smells great.
It does smell great. I love this wine so much. I do, and it's not just to say that, but when we drink this at home, it doesn't last. So it goes down really easy, but I love the aroma. It's got really, really nice Pinot Noir flavors. A little bit of that warm baking spice. And I just keep swirling, letting that oxygen integrate and open up all
Come to outdoor dining.
Sorry?
Will you do outdoor dining with me?
What does outdoor dining mean? That
You're
means
so impressionable.
I'm on mute.
outdoor dining is where we have tables outside, where we're allowed to serve people under the COVID rules. So this, to me, for smells and aromas, some cherry, cooked cherry, some of that cooked raspberry, some warm baking spice. A little cola. So I get the acid on the sides of my tongue, insides of my cheek, a little bit of heat right on the back of the throat, but there's, the flavor keeps lingering for me. I keep tasting the Pinot Noir through the mid palate, all the way on the back. Here at the restaurant, we specialize in duck. We always have duck on the menu. I was a chef at the Beowulf in Oakland before they closed many years ago, if anybody's familiar with that restaurant. So this needs a little bit of fat and salt. This wine is a perfect complement to that. And that's something that duck has naturally. Plus that gamey note of duck meat will go really well with those fruity, berry, cherry spice notes, which I personally love. And it's you know, it's kind of a lighter to medium weight Pinot Noir. It's not too big and knock you over your head. I believe the alcohol is 14.3. Again, relatively low. I was starting making wine when most wines were closer to 15%. And I don't prefer those wines. I like wines with lower alcohol, a little more food friendly. And that's just the perspective I come from with it. We had a question in the chat saying the event is lovely. Are there any wine packages available to mail out in the Bay Area after the event because of a late sign up, or if anybody was interested in getting these wines? The answer is yes. We have more of this wine. Just email Kathy and she can set it up through me where I can have the wine shipped to you. We can do the 2-bottle ship that we did for the tasting. We can also ship cases of either the Chardonnay or the Pinot Noir to you. We use Golden State Overnight. It's a very reliable company. There's a gentleman in Tahoe. Did that arrive to you? I know we had a concern. Is he here?
We don't see. I don't see their.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Oh,
Michael just entered in the chat the email address. It's the one that we've been using all along. So you can just email me to my attention and we'll make sure we can answer any questions about shipping more wine.
we have new vintages coming up. These 2 vintages are coming down to the last few cases. But these are why I wanted to share these wines with you specifically around this time. These are perfect wines for Thanksgiving dinner. So we asked about wine pairing earlier. So you have the creamed green beans or the mashed potatoes or the turkey. Perfect pairing with the gravy, with the Chardonnay, or with the Pinot Noir, because it's a lighter style red wine and that good acidity. There's so much butter and fat and wonderful things on the Thanksgiving table in every recipe mostly. So both of these wines are great Thanksgiving wines if you wanted to share them with your family. I know gatherings are going to be a lot smaller this year, but if you wanted to send some or share some with a neighbor or just open it for your own table, these are great versatile wines for that. Thank you. Okay, great. It made it to Truckee. Donna, sweet. Can you pick up bottles at Pappo? Yes, you can. You can order online with us at papporestaurant.com. We have a wine section. We have lots of different wines, Thiel wines, lots of other wines. You can come by and pick it up. You should be able to go through a menu there. We offer a discount on case purchases through that as well. So if you're interested and really liked one, just let us know. We can figure this out. And again, we love our Cal family, so we'll make it happen. No worries.
I have another question about the color. So I'm not a big Pinot drinker, but so how does the color compare to the Cab and the Merlot, and why is it a little more, I would say, brownish, maybe less reddish, or how would you compare the color?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a little bit lighter red in color. I think, brownish, brick red.
Brickish, yeah, brick red.
Not the deep purple.
Yeah.
The way wine gets its color is from contact to the skin after the grapes are smashed. So this stylistically is left on the skin for only 7 days. And what that does is when it sits on the skin, it's like steeping out the color from the skin itself. Cabernet and Merlot is a thicker skin,
Yeah.
more intense color can be extracted, and as a winemaker they will probably extract that and let it sit on the skin for longer. They have more flavor. What comes with that is more tannin or tannic acid, which makes it dry, and you need to give the wine time to age for that to soften. So, and again, this one is de-stemmed, so we took the berries right off the stem. We didn't smush the stems in there, but we did smush the seeds. So there is a little bit of that green tannin from the seed and the skin, and just the skin color of the grape is a little bit lighter.
So the Pinot grape is lighter, definitely lighter than the Cab and the Merlot, right? Yeah. So not as thick as the grape of the Cab.
Through the variety, there are differences. I've had Pinot Noirs that are like a deep purple, but they never, this is a lighter version for sure, a little more French style.
Or Italian style.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, for food, we were just commenting with my friend, we're wine tasting here, and definitely, I mean, you would choose this wine versus a heavy Cabernet when you're eating dinner, right? Because it's lighter, it goes more with the food, like Italian wines and French wines mostly, right?
That's my goal. That's how I like to eat, so that's why I do what I do with these wines. And I just hope you enjoy them. But yeah, that's what I like. Like I enjoy like a lighter Sangiovese.
Right, exactly.
Right? So, but a big Super Tuscan with Cabernet, and I don't enjoy those wines too much personally.
No, you would not drink an Amarone with your dinner. Right. That would be probably not. This would go as well as a Sangiovese or a lighter French wine.
Yeah, that was the idea, is to make the wine versatile to go with the food at the restaurant, and that's that's what we do here is California Mediterranean. So influences from France, from Italy, from Spain, the local produce, the bounty of beautiful vegetables and dairy around us. And this wine is, it can go with the duck, but it could also go with the salmon, which, or it could go with the vegetarian paella. So we have lots of different options with this wine, and that's something that was important for me to have, especially by the glass, when someone comes in maybe for the first time and just looking for what's a good red wine to go with this. And so the server is able to say, try the Pinot Noir, and 99 times out of 100, the people are super happy.
Yeah, no, I would be happy with that. And we love the bottle and the drawing of your niece. I mean, that was what it drew me in, and so it's perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining and sipping along.
There's another question in the chat about
any blending in the Pinot, or it's 100% Pinot, and this is full malolactic. So we converted all those harsh acids to a softer acid. It gives it that little bit of creamy, rich mouthfeel. This is a Pinot Noir that we built by design to be able to drink and enjoy 1, 2, 3, 4 years out of the bottle. In a couple of years, this wine is going to start hitting its peak and going down in terms of best drinkability, and on its way to vinegar, so to speak. So there's a window that you try to create where the wine starts to show the best after time. Some people build their wines or their Pinot Noirs where it's minimum of 10 years before you can start to really enjoy the potential of the wine. So because we did the malolactic, we softened the palate. Because we de-stemmed the berries from the cluster, we take those immediate tannins out. We make this wine accessible at a younger age than some others that are being produced. That's by design. But we still get all the great flavor of Pinot Noir. How long? Oh, yeah. Good question, Donna. How long would you store this wine? This one, I would say, after this winter, I think it's going to start to get a lot lighter. It still will be enjoyable, but it won't have that upfront fruity punch to go along with the acid and the alcohol. So I would drink this within 6 to 9 months if it's stored correctly in a cooler temperature and dark. And we had a question about that actually before we got started. What temperature should we chill or bring the wines to, especially in the heat, which is a great question. Typically cellar temperature is anywhere from like 45 to 58 or 60 degrees. You can obviously chill your whites a lot colder, and you can drink your reds warmer if you want, but that's a typical temperature range. And something like this Pinot Noir on a hot day, if I really need to drink a light Pinot Noir, I will throw it in the fridge for a little while. Or something like a Gamay Beaujolais. Those wines are great with just a little bit of chill to them. It doesn't necessarily, make the wine suffer because it's too cold. Sometimes if it's too cold, everything's closed and you don't get all the nuances and aromas. But you can chill your reds a little bit if you want to. There's no rules. Any other questions before we wrap up on the Pinot Noir? We have an announcement from Noah about the race. I want to let that happen and be available for any other questions before we sign off here. Anyone liking the Pinot?
I'll add, this was fun. Maybe we should try to do it again sometime.
Yeah, that sounds good. Kathy and I can arrange something, maybe in the new year, springtime. We'll get our new releases coming out. We can share those with you, and hopefully I'm sure they'll taste a little bit different, but similar. Be fun to try.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. The wines were fantastic. This was really enjoyable.
Thank you all
Thank
for
you.
joining in.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers, thank you.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Bear the Bear.
Stay on for an announcement from now.
Stay on for an announcement and we'll see you.
Go Bears.
See you.
Hi everyone. Hi, it's so great to meet you guys, and I wish we could have been together in person. My name is Noah Burzon. I'm the program manager in business development. And I was part of this team that put together the Berkelium 5K, and just wanted to thank you all for signing up and participating. Just wanted to share some of our winners, from the most house spirit to the most scenic run, and then our raffle prize winners. So our most house spirit winner was Julie Burlington. Our most scenic run / walk was Diane Hirschberg. And then our 3 winners of Sennheiser headphones are Yuko Elliott, Israel Chavez, and Tara Beering. And then our Berkeley restaurant gift cards are going to Peter Lee, Vicki Wayne, Jean-Yu Lee, and Colin Gradner. If anybody is in the chat, and I apologize if I pronounced your name wrong, but thank you again so much for participating. We really appreciate the support, and we hope that you guys are all staying safe and healthy during this time, and we hope to see you at Alumni House again soon. I will turn it back over to Kathy, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate you joining us. And as John said, he is doing meals to go right now. So if you are local and can pick up, you can look online at papporestaurant.com and check out his awesome menu. And yeah, just we'll send out an email to everybody as well in case you're interested in ordering the wines after this, and we can ship them before you can pick up. So yeah, any other questions or anything we can share? We have a coffee tasting tomorrow at 10 a.m. John Spivak and Emily Bollinger from Pete's Coffee and Tea will be discussing brewing coffee and the holiday blend from Pete's. So join us. There's a link on CAA's website that you can sign up and get information in the Zoom link, or just email the Lair again, and we will make sure you get that information. But we hope to see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock. For all you connoisseurs of all good things in the Bay Area.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Go Bears.
Go Bears. Thank you, everybody.
Go Bears.
Go Bears.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.